So this happened. Realities of van life. It's almost 2 a.m. in the morning, and I was woken up at 1:30 by a loud bang on my van. And I heard kids on a bike, so I thought I'd have just whacked my van as they'd driven past. 20 minutes later, I hear another bang and glass breaking, and they've come past with a bat or something this time and completely taken out my side mirror. So I've just got up and I've got my dustpan and broom out and I've cleaned up the mess. I've cleaned up, it was a drink that they'd thrown at my car first. So I've cleaned all that up with my dustpan and come to the beach, and I guess I'm going to have to try and tape it back on. I've got no mirror there, so it's really dangerous driving this van without it. It's really not good for your nervous system when you get woken up like that. And it was like, it's a street that I park on occasionally. It's my daughter's street. So anyway, it's a really nice suburb. Anyway. So, well, I've been going for over 3.5 years, and it's the first time something like this has happened. So the full story, I have had people bang on my van at night before, and so I wasn't overly worried when I heard the first bang. Usually it's like, I've had like drunk people, falling over into the van, or I think one time it might have been a resident that had banged because, they don't like campers being around. Anyway, so I was parked on my daughter's street, and it's a really nice suburb. It's quite a family suburb. So I wasn't overly worried. I pick those sort of suburbs because I feel safer there. And yeah, it was about 1:30 in the morning on a Friday night, and there was this massive bang on the van. And what you need to understand is that when you're sleeping in a van, my head is here. The bang happened like right where my head is, and it's like, if you can imagine, you're gently, quietly sleeping away, and then someone just comes up and bangs 2 pots together right next to your head. It's not very good for your nervous system. You wake up like you're under attack, So anyway, I heard that bang, and I woke up in a bit of a shock. And I did get out of bed and I kind of looked around, but when I heard it, I did hear, I don't know whether it was a bike or an e-scooter, but it was that sort of noise of, like smaller wheels going past. It didn't sound like a car or anything. So anyway, I just thought, it's just kids, like they've just seen that I'm a camper and they're messing around with me, So I kind of just, I looked around, couldn't see anything outside, and whatever. So I just went back to sleep. Well, I was asleep for about all of 20 minutes, and then I hear another bang, and this time there's a glass smashing sound with it. So I jumped out of bed a bit quicker this time, and I kind of knew what it was straight away, and so I stuck my head out the front, looked straight to my mirror, my side mirror, and yeah, it had been taken off. So I know obviously that it wasn't an accident because of what had happened before that, 20 minutes before that. So I got to admit, I wasn't worried about my safety. I was quite worried about Gypsy's safety. Like, what else are they going to do to the van? So anyway, because I wasn't particularly worried about my safety, like my daughter was sleeping just across the road. So, I could have yelled out. She would have been, helping me. So anyway, I got out of the van to assess the damage. My mirror was hanging off, and I was actually kind of like, what's holding it on there? There were wires, and I'm like, why are there wires? And then I remembered I've got wires for to move the mirror electronically. So it was hanging on by the wires, and there was obviously, the mirror had smashed all over the road. And then when I looked at the back of the van, it was a McDonald's drink that they'd thrown at the back of my van. It was a large McDonald's drink. But I don't know what was in that drink. it wasn't just Coke, like it has stained the ground, although Coke's quite corrosive. So, yeah, there's still a stain on the ground in that parking bay. And it has stained the back of my van a little bit too. It's not obvious. I washed it off the next day. So because I wasn't worried about my safety, I was just disappointed. I sound like a parent now, don't I? I'm so disappointed in you. I was just disappointed because it's just such senseless vandalism. You know, if anyone thinks that through properly, I was kind of like, I wanted them to see that I was on my own and they've like woken me up and scared me, you know, like have a think about it, you know. Anyway, so I got my dustpan and broom out and I had no choice but to leave my mirror hanging, and then I just cleaned up all the mess on the ground, all the glass and everything, and I cleaned up the McDonald's drink container, and I kind of thought I could hear voices still, and I kind of thought, good, I hope you are watching me, because I'm sitting here cleaning up the mess you've just created, you know. Anyway, gotta just, you know, deep breath. So I will admit, I did have in my head, oh, I should just jump in my van and drive around and try and find the little buggers. But I didn't. I just thought, you know what, whatever, I'm just going to move, because if I stay here, they're just going to keep doing more stuff to Gypsy, and I don't have the energy for that right now. I've been quite tired with all the renovations and everything, and it was just another thing on my plate that I had to action, you know. I wasn't, anyway. We'll just call them little turd burglars, is what they are. So yeah, I went and drove to the beach because it's all very well lit at the beach, and even though it was you know, after 2 o'clock in the morning at this stage, and I just sort of assessed my mirror and what to do about it. So I had some black gaffer tape, and I just kind of, you know, gaffer taped it on there as best I could, but you know, like it wasn't, I was just thinking there's a spider web in there. The poor little spider that was in there, my God, I've got a fright of his life. So I gaffer taped it back on, just hoping that, you know, if a police car was to pass me, they're less likely to come and investigate, because obviously I'm presuming it's illegal to drive without a side mirror. But I didn't have a choice. So I obviously drove a lot more cautiously because I couldn't see. So I had my window down, sticking my head out the window to make sure I could see properly. And I was making choices of like where to drive where I wouldn't have to, you know, like not 2 lanes and things. Anyway, so I went and parked up at a different place that I felt was quite safe. But even then, I sort of parked up. It was more of a public area where I parked. It was another regular spot I go to. And I was like worried. I don't know, because then I'm looking out the window because I could hear a car, and there's a young guy in a car driving past. And I thought, have they followed me here now? You know, just because people can be silly, you know, they get in their head they want to do something and they're bored, and, you know. So I didn't sleep very well the rest of that night. Yeah, and I've got to admit, the next couple of nights I still didn't sleep very well. Like because I'm on the road most of the time sleeping, you hear a lot of bikes and the e-scooters going past. So every time I heard a noise like that, you know, I was straight away like, what's going on? So that's the real bugger about when things like that happen, is that, you know, your nervous system is on alert. So anyway, like I said, I've never really, it still didn't make me worried about my safety. It was just Gypsy. Like I don't have the energy to fix anything else. So anyway, I did a ring around of some wreckers. But the unfortunate thing was, it was a long weekend it happened on. So that was on a Friday night. On the Saturday, I couldn't get to a wreckers because I had my daughter's birthday. So we had a family gathering on the Saturday for that, and that was from early morning onwards. So I couldn't get to a wreckers. So I couldn't get there until Monday, and I paid $150 for a replacement mirror, and it's not the best mirror. Like, it's got that faded plastic backing, but I didn't have a choice. I needed something straight away. So, because it is dangerous driving without that there. So yes, but it kind of meant that I learnt something new again. It was another opportunity to learn. So I was able to try and work out how to replace a side mirror that has electrical cords through it and everything. So, you know, there's a positive. I will admit I've come south now and I'm at a campground, and I've been sleeping a lot better here. It's a lot quieter. And it has got me thinking more about, because this year I really did want to spend more time being remote. And I had in my head I was worried about being more remote, more worried about my safety. But turns out, you know, maybe it was a good thing it happened, because it sent me off being more remote and I feel safer now. It's quieter, it's more peaceful. So I think I will be spending more time in more remote off-grid campgrounds. Yeah. Obviously, like, still being aware of my surroundings, but yes. So anyway, I'll take you through now how I replaced my mirror. Yeah, so that's the new one, the new old one. But at least it's just got the mirror in there. It's got the cord there for the electric windows setting, so not quite sure how this works, but let's give it a go. Looks like these are like bolts, so I've just got to take the little nuts off. So this little bolt here is coming off easy enough, but I cannot for the life of me budge that one. Maybe if I spray some WD-40 on it. I think I'm going to need one of those socket wrench tools that can go straight in. I cannot budge it. I've tried WD-40 and all I've got is pliers to try and get into that hole to loosen the bolt. So frustrating. I don't want to buy a socket set. Well, I bought myself a socket wrench kit finally, and that's loosened it within one turn. Okay, so now I have to take this whole thing off, so I've just taken the screws out of the handle and the other handle, and now we're going to see if we can just jimmy this little thing off. Cool. You can see in there that joins up. Got it out. Okay, I'm going to put the other one on. Alright, so I've hooked the wires up. Let's see if it's going to work. Hey, it's working.